So last time, let's go nuts to bolts from beginning to end. So the main thing is that you had arrived on Walston, and you had trouble getting through customs. So, like Dave said, you eventually were like, you know what, we're tourists. Never mind that. We don't work for the Scout Service. Never mind us. Just stamp our passports, and they let you in on a tourist visa because there was a mix-up where the system would not allow you to enter Walston, and the reason was that you are considered the official crew of the Scout Service detached duty vessel High and Dry. And there is a prohibition of the crew of the High and Dry to enter the planet through customs, through the starport. They're no longer allowed here on this planet. And so that kind of kept causing a problem. And so then you're like, you know what, we're not associated with that ship. And you smooth that over, you get through customs, and you're only able to take with you a blade and nothing else. No guns on this planet. So you leave everything else in the locker, and you go through, and there is nothing here in this place. And immediately about, I think it was something like 600 meters, less than that, 400 meters across, at the end of a dusty road. All the buildings are about half submerged on this planet. The atmosphere is thin, and not only is the atmosphere thin, like you're up at 10,000, 12,000 feet on Earth, but it contains a contaminant in the air where it's not possible for you to breathe. And you see people wearing breathers walking around, and you notice that the vast majority of the people here are Vargar. And anyways, you see a train station, and you're not sure who to talk to. So the first thing you do is you all went to a hotel. So you check in at the hotel, and there's a really nice lady there that's really helpful, and she makes a fish stew, a fishy grit, fishy kind of concoction. For meals, and it's included in the hotel price. And so you do that, and then you're going to go get the train, but the train has been it's already left for the day, so you missed the train. So then you go over to the Air Raft Repair Center / hair salon / Starport Authority, and there's a guy there, and he's an old guy, and he wants to show off his what are these things called? The race cars. Not grav car. Maybe it is grav car. It's like a Corvette, you know.
Yeah, air cars.
Yeah. And it's his one thing, his one pride and joy. And while everyone else is like, oh yeah, look at that. Meanwhile, Marcello, who decides to stay back with the merchant crew, by the way, so he's not going to go with you all to Central Lake City. Meanwhile, Marcello is pulling the information from some of the air rafts in there, because one was broken or stolen or whatever, and they find that it was an air raft that hasn't been picked up from a family. Apparently, the previous crew had stolen it, grand theft air raft, and had also trashed it, destroyed the thing. And then he's looking around at that, and he finds where it comes from, finds the estate is in Central Lake City for this family. And then you notice that there's this stock, unpainted, kind of not very attractive looking air raft. And it's a ship's air raft. And you discover that it is the air raft of the High and Dry. I can't remember what it's called, but the air raft that's like the emergency air raft that's stuck inside the ship. And and they had wrecked that too. Apparently that's why they stole the second one. They pulled that in here and no one had even noticed. And the other thing that you discovered in the computers while he was showing people around with his nice car is that the High and Dry was it's classified. And when he tries to get records on it, he can see where the last crew left and when they left about a month ago, and that they had been doing jobs here for about the past 4 months or so. But he can tell that they were contracted to do a job on planet, and then the high and dry never left after that. It never went through the starport. It was cleared to leave anyway. So you think the high and dry is somewhere here on this planet. You're not sure where, and they were working for the government, and it's classified. And so that prompted you to go to the capital. So you wait for the train. The next day, the train was taken over by government soldiers, and it was, what do you call it? Anyways, what do we call those flights whenever somebody takes them over? Anyways, so you couldn't take the train on the second day, and so you hang out with this merchant crew. Finally, on the third day, you're able to arrive into Crystal Lake City, or Central Lake City. And that's where you are right now, and I will bring you over there, describe what you see, and then I'll toss the ball over to Jason for whatever you all want to do. Okay, so Central Lake City. After you leave the rail station has a perpendicular intersection, continues on to the, let's see here, to the, oh, it doesn't even actually show it. I think this is to the southwest. Yeah, southwest. And then there's one that goes to the southeast. So you came in from the northeast, and then it stops here, continues on to the southwest, and then there's a rail line that goes to the southeast. There's nothing going on here at the rail station. There's kind of one main strip, and there's a bunch of residential buildings. They're half buried. There are a bunch of pedways between the buildings, so people don't have to go out into the air. When you see people out, the vast majority are Vargar, and they're wearing breathers. And it's very cold. And there's one big main building, and there's signs pointing to various buildings in town. And then you can see that there are some industrial buildings, like an industrial zone with some factories over to your right front, which is to the northeast. And then at the far end of this strip is a fishery and some docks.
Well, anyone want some fish?
No, don't want any fish.
So, Jason, what do you all do? What's the plan?
Okay. Let me turn that down a little bit. All right, so we were going to the Commerce District. Did we have a plan as to what we were going to do there from last time?
I was thinking that maybe we needed to clear up this, what the government was doing with the high and dry. They were asking them to do, so that we could do what the Scout Service wants us to do to recover the ship. At least give us a location.
Oh, perhaps we could go to a some kind of library or net cafe and see what we can dig up with a computer connected to the city.
Yeah. What's the technical level?
GM, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, say that again.
What's the tech level on the planet?
Tech level. You could ask somebody, but
Well, I mean, look around and see like what you know. Is it 1940s level, 2050s level?
No, it. I think a good measure is kind of what you see here. So it's a mix of things. So there's some influences that have been brought in, but this is I guess like tech level 9. So you know they have a starport. They have some grav technology, but they also live a rugged lifestyle, a rugged frontier lifestyle. Their buildings are submerged halfway. They have a kind of bunker or igloo-like quality to them with pedways that go between the buildings. And
yeah, I'd like to use my pocket computer to see if it can link up to a planetary internet of some sort. If there's any local signal that I can find, just get some news feeds about, because it sounds like this crew made a lot of noise and made a lot of people angry. So I'm sure there'd be some we could probably get a little bit of a sense of the local feeling before we decide where to go to start asking questions.
Okay. What is everybody doing to breathe air right now? Are you you're in your vac suits? Are you're staying outside the rail station?
We got the combo masks, or at least I do.
Yes, we had bought our vac suits off the ship, and then I believe we'd also decided to purchase some respirators while we were in town. And we did the bookkeeping in the Discord channel, but I don't know if we want to like actually play out going and getting that stuff, or if we're just assuming that we went and made a shopping trip or what.
Yeah, that was kind of retroactive. It was like a retcon because I didn't provide it. So I'm like, that's it's not fair. So before you left the Class A starport that has tech level 11, you could have bought that. So I just want to make sure. Did everybody get a combo mask? Did everybody purchase one?
I know I did.
I certainly did.
I did.
I didn't actually write that down, so I'm probably still in my vac suit.
Okay. So your vac suit has about 3 hours off the top of my head without looking at it. I think it's 3 hours of O2 supply.
Then I guess something along the lines of topping it off.
It can't automatically cycle from the atmosphere on a planet that has oxygen.
Cycle? I don't know.
I mean, in other words, yeah.
Yeah, but I will say that basically as soon as you're able to access clean O2, you've got O2 again. But if you're breathing, O2, so yeah, actually, that's a good point. Can it filter air versus can it filter air versus?
Do they actually have to use its oxygen supply if they're on a planet? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it'd be a matter. Can it do it on this planet? Which I am going to say.
What's the tech levels of vac suit? Are there different tech levels of vac suit?
I don't want to get that specific. I'm just going to say yes. So the intention of the vac suit is not to be an environmental suit where you're like tromping around in it, but you have O2, but you'll need to get somewhere with O2 before you run out.
Then I guess my next thing of business will be purchasing a combo mask. That way I won't have that issue.
We're heading to the...
Hey, you mentioned like an internet cafe or something. I was hoping that we'd be able to...
Yeah, we were heading to the Commerce District as of last time. I thought we were doing that to get masks.
Okay.
So if Jackson wants to do that, we can do that while other people look up stuff on the internet.
Okay. You can do that at the same time if you want. You're going to start heading towards. There is a sign that indicates that there is it says Runish's Fishing Appliances and Dime Store. There's no commercial district, but it looks like somebody has a store here.
That sounds like an interesting person. Let's go meet Mr. Runish.
All right.
At least that's what I'd like to do.
Sounds good.
And meanwhile, you said that you're trying to connect to the local internet. I'll say that they do have local internet here, and you can use your device to connect to it. This is kind of internet circa 1994, maybe 1996. So very
Quaint.
Quaint is a good word for it. Yeah. So it does tell you some things, though. And one of the useful things that you're able to find, because you're asking about this, is news. So the previous crew at one point, so we'll say it's about, you take an hour because you're moving to a new area. Actually, let me go ahead and check. I could check for the area. I'll check that out in a second. On your personal device, you can see that it looks like no one was interviewed, as far as you know, just from the internet and from the news. But the internet also here, like, it indicates that these people are fugitives and criminals, and if they're found here again, that they ask that you contact the authorities.
Now, looking around me, do I get the impression that that means that they might be shot on sight by, like, a quickly formed posse if they were to roll around? Okay.
Yeah, no,
So it's
everybody, this is a really lazy place, and people don't seem that violent. Sorry, go ahead. But
No, I just checking to see, like, whether or not whatever the news was a euphemism in what you know what I mean, like in other words, turn yourselves in if you don't want to get shot by the locals, or just more, more normal than that.
yeah, very much more normal than that. And in fact, you get the impression from the way people move, what people are doing, that this is a very sleepy place. And you got that impression since you landed at the starport and you saw customs here. So meanwhile, let me see.
Klaus, can you look up if there's ever been any unrest with the Vargur rising up?
Espresso motion.
Look up which guy?
There's ever been any planetary unrest specifically with the Vargur rising up?
That's a good question.
All right, I'll address your question in a moment. Just as you're saying that, you're walking to this where the sign indicated the store was. You're on your way. There's a crowd out in the street, a commotion. They're all Vargur, and they're circled around something.
Answering your own question here.
Yeah.
Circle around something.
Yeah. It's like a crowd that are all just just crowded around and something that has happened in the street.
I go over and take a look.
All right, yeah, you get up with the Vargur in the crowd, and they've got their masks on because you're out in out in the street. And as far as I know, that you all have clearly marked yourselves as travelers, because as I understand it, you're wearing the vac suit bottom, and then you've got your mask and you've got your helmet if you need it. So you all look like astronauts, as far as I know. But you come up to the Vargur. No one gawks at you or anything like that. You kind of peer over their shoulders. They don't even take much notice of you. They're all staring down a street corner, and there's a Vargur there. You see some Vargur being arrested by some guards, but 3 of the 4 guards that are arresting the Vargur are other Vargur. And one of them is a human. And then there's a Vargur that is... well, that's it, actually. Yeah, that's what you see happening. It looks like there was some kind of scuffle on the street, but it's already resolved by the time you get there. Yeah.
How's the crowd taking the arrest? Just kind of read the crowd.
Perfectly, like with curiosity, like they're rubbernecking. And the guards, the Crystal Lake City guards, are not bothered by people rubbernecking. They're not trying to clear a crowd. They're not trying to control the crowd. But as you're standing there and you're kind of looking too, one of the Vargr through his mask is like, "Hey, no, hey, that one. He saw it. He saw what happened." He points up to you. Jason. Hey, tell them that we weren't in on this.
What are you talking about? I just got here.
Yeah, another one of the Vargr with him is like, yeah, no, we met them at the starport. They know us. They'll vouch for us. And then the guards turn and look at you.
Have I met this Vargr?
Absolutely not.
Does the guard approach me? Like, I don't make any attempt to run because that signifies guilt.
Right, yeah, no, they look like they might. They look like they might say, "Hey, why don't you come talk to us?" And then go to the station and kind
of... Since we're sort of behind the crowd, I kind of like half turn my head towards the rest of the group and I just sort of like wave my hand downwards like, stay out of this. And if they take me, just take me.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the police officers, he's a Vargr, he comes over. Meanwhile, panning over to Klaus. Klaus, you do a quick search on your personal device. Kind of go through old websites, maybe use an archive tool. You see nothing. There's nothing to indicate that there has ever been civil unrest on this planet.
If anybody's next to me, I just quickly whisper, like, see if you can get a chance to talk to the... What were their names? The Mastertons, who had their air car stolen. Maybe they'll have some clues as to where the ship got left.
Can you look up, because I'm in the library or the net cafe as well. Is there anything like, I don't know, like municipal files on ship contracts where we could look up more about the last contract the High and Dry took?
Yeah.
You know that from your information gathering at the Starport Authority that the last job that it was on was for the government. Also, before that, this is information that Marcelo gathered using the information, data computer on the air raft. Before that, and I think this might be the... No, actually, I don't think you all know this. So, apart from that, it's not the sort of thing you could get through the internet without Computer One if you were trying to like hack into something or something like that. Do something a little more unscrupulous.
Yeah.
Unscrupulous? Us? Where's the thought?
Well, I would like to use first admin.
Just tell me what you want to do, but yeah, then tell me the skill. What do you want to try to do?
This is to look for what Shipley was talking about. This is where to look and the structures and how they work and like where such a thing could be found. It might increase our chances if I put my head to it.
You have admin 1.
Yeah.
Didn't you all gather the world's UPP data from the starport? Or back in Flammarion? Did that not happen? I apologize if I'm confusing it with the other crew. They did.
I don't think we did.
Maybe you guys just asked around about... Somebody did not somebody ask around about Walston somewhere? Maybe not.
I don't think it was here.
Okay. All right. In this case, I do think it'll be a check. So I think, yeah, 2d6, and you can, to meet 7. The target number would be 7. Meet 7. All right.
There you go.
So, Klaus, there are some things that are obvious to you about this planet. You know that you've been, probably you guys have kind of migrated over time to the middle of nowhere, to the Bowman Arm. But even worlds are diverse in the Spinward Marches and on the Imperial Fringe, like in Rylanor and Deneb and all those worlds. As you kind of slowly migrate your way across, there's been a lot, and you've had a lot of experience with them. This world is clearly a dictatorship, or some sort of strong central authority, and you know they're the gatekeeper. If you're going to get something, you'll have to go to them, or through them, or past them.
And the crew passed through this town, did they?
Oh, that's a good question. I think...
Didn't...
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask that. I thought the Mastertons lived on the edge of Crystal Lake City. Or not the Mastertons, whoever had been the family that had their speeder stolen. But maybe I'm remembering wrong.
Meanwhile, back with Jason. Jason,
I'm ready.
A police officer, a Varger police officer, does approach you, and he's got his mask on, everything. He's like, "Sir, is it true? Do you know these people?"
I have never met them before.
All right, let's do a reaction roll. What's your social? Oh no! Oh no! What is your social?
12.
Nice. Okay, right. All right. That will make it not violent. But they look at you and they're like, another one is like, "Hey, wait a second." He looks at you, sees you're in a spacesuit and stuff. He's like, Is that the crew of that scout vessel that tore the town up about a month ago? Are they back?" And then like another one gets up and starts coming towards you, while the other one's, handcuffing this group.
I just stand there passively with a smile. I say, "I have credentials if you would like to see them, but I am not the crew of that ship."
All right. They ask for your credentials.
I hand them the tourist visa.
They look at the tourist visa and they say, "I don't know. What are their names? I don't know their names." You look at it. Look at your your passport or whatever. What ship did you come in on? You got you have some berthing papers, something for your ship? What's your purpose here on the planet?
We came in on the Autumn Gold under Captain Corelli, and our business is tourism.
Okay, so you're not associated with this the scout, any kind of scout vessel?
We are not associated with those criminals in any way.
They take your information, take a record of it. Like, all right, we have it on record that you don't have any association with that scout vessel.
we have no association with those criminals.
They look at each other like he's talking in circles. I don't understand what he's saying about. Oh no, these travelers, they come in and they wreck our hotel and they just act like they own the place. Like out loud, they're just arguing about you in front of you. I'm gonna pan the camera back over to. I didn't mean to indicate that there's a cyber cafe. This place ain't got a cyber cafe. However, let's say you find a place.
Computer, though.
Yeah, you have a hand computer. And what tech level is that? Without looking at it, I can look at it. I've got it.
It's like.
What would it be comparable to? Is I guess in real life. Let me look here.
It would probably be comparable to a smartphone, so you could say 7 or 8.
That's what I was thinking, But
so it's meant to be able to interface with the ship also and do also. It's not
right.
But anyway,
I'll say that you're able to do this remotely. So, it's been you're going into the second hour now, and so you're looking. What was the question? What was the question that you were looking for?
Well, I'm hoping to be able to use my admin skill to, if not find out, then find out exactly where to look. Girl that age to see what their mission was. You said that we had to go through the planetary authority.
Yeah, I think your admin skill will come into play if you are speaking with authorities or officials. That will give you, if it's something really bad, like your friend right now, then it'll give you a basic roll if it's something that's really tense.
I thought that was advocate. Is advocate separate, not separate?
It says administration. Advocate's not advocate's not in this game. So that, like I said, so it's usually like 2d6, but a target of 7 plus, throw 7. And that's if something is going on. If nothing is going on and you're just trying to find something out, but you're in that situation, then you don't even have to roll. Like you've got admin, you got it. But it involves contact with officials, understanding their needs and motives. Some examples are police harassment, ensuring prompt issuances of licenses. Too bad you weren't here last week. Approval of applications, avoidance of close inspections of papers.
Maybe I need to step up into this situation and spin a tail real quick.
Okay, so you could do that. I think you could go and.
I don't want to retcon anything or step on anyone's toes.
No, it's fine. If you want to, it's going okay so far,
Yeah.
But you want to go back to your friend. I don't think you're going to find anything using the local internet. Based on what I'm hearing you say that you want, it's like
that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'll have an eye on this situation that I'm seeing unfold, and as they seem uncertain, I'll step in and talk about, whether or not their code, are we, actually, I don't know the laws here. What are, their motivation is order, I imagine.
Yeah, but the laws elsewhere, and you can look around and you can,
Yeah. So I'm going to ask them whether or not we are free to go, or whether we should file. Perhaps if they're finding our responses unsatisfactory, perhaps they would prefer it if we went to the headquarters and filed a formal complaint about the interaction, and see where that leads.
Oh, you're threatening them that you're going to file a report on this.
I mean, I'm very, very, very gently.
Yeah.
I'm imagining these guys would rather not be troubled with that kind of thing.
So, one of them.
If it's a sleepy town.
Yeah, they're taken aback by it. They definitely don't want more paperwork or any work, period.
Exactly.
And they say, "Wait, who are you?"
Bellamy. Among this small group of tourists, but I have some experience traveling about.
They don't want to
Probably
be
like twice everybody's age.
Yeah, so they see, they're under threat of this report, and then Jason has been kind of like, well, first of all, cooperative, and then also like, hey, and sorted out that you're not in this crew and everything. And what it comes down to is now you have these people that are kind of handcuffed. They have this situation going on that they still need to deal with, and this just keeps getting more complicated, and they don't want to deal with it. So
maybe it would be better if we forget about the report altogether. It might be simpler that way.
Jason, they hand your passport and your information back to you, and they say, if you hear anything about this crew, we still have an open investigation going on. We'd appreciate your help.
Well, we did hear about it.
Oh,
we heard that they've been taken into custody on another planet. But
Really?
that could have just been barroom rumors.
And Klaus, you know that the Starport Authority already knows that they were apprehended on another planet. The local police don't know, and they say, where did you have this? You said you heard it in a bar? This is off-world while you're traveling somewhere, Starport, some other planet?
Oh, right here in the Port Authority.
The Starport Authority told you that?
I don't know if they told us that, but we gleaned it from the Starport.
They get really upset. Clearly not at you, and they huff off.
What was the last planet we were on?
573 doesn't even have a name. It's like five. Let me get it.
Oh no, the one before that. I totally forgot about that planet.
567908. Before that was Flammarian Highport. Let's start
I was telling me, it was in a bar at Flammarian Highport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we did hear about that all the way back then.
They seem really upset about this, but not at you all, and they turn to ignore you, and they go back to kind of resolving their situation. And then they start arguing amongst each other. They don't tell us anything. Yeah, I know. It's just what the right hand doesn't talk to the left. They're just grumbling about the bureaucracy here.
So if I may ask, what do these individuals, what did they do? I indicate to the people that are handcuffed.
You walk to catch up to the Vargar police officers that are walking away?
Oh, if they're already walking away, I don't chase them because that would look suspicious. But if they were still standing there, I would say something.
You got a bunch of Vargar people standing around.
All right, well, I turn to one of them.
Oh, well, actually there was a fight that broke out. I don't know what about. It's the most exciting thing that's happened in weeks, though. I was exhilarated and scared.
Where was this fight?
Right here on the corner. She points to where they're being handcuffed.
Well, sounds like none of our business. Unless they were fighting about the crew of the... well, never mind.
All right. 2 hours have passed. What do you do next, Jason?
Let's...
What'd you say?
Hey, Jason.
For some reason, the music shot up in volume. Why don't we find out if we can speak to the Mastertons?
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if in the information that we were given about the ship, did they have like a transponder code?
I don't remember them giving us one.
Right.
I didn't write it down.
Okay, I was just curious because if there was one, maybe we could track the ship through that, circumnavigate all this. Just a thought.
Oh, we might be able to look it up, and if we can get access to the satellite system, maybe we could track it that way.
Right.
So can we look up the contact information for the Mastertons?
You mean, you're going to use your personal device? Do you have like a thing like Klaus has or something?
I don't, because I have 0 skills except for the ones you gave me.
All right. Where do you go? How do you do that?
I turn to Klaus and I say,
I was not there for that session, so remind me who the Mastertons are. Are they the ones who had their air wrap stolen, or is that somebody else? Okay, so yeah, if we have that, and this is there a phone network? How rugged are they out here?
Pretty rugged. I don't think that would be something. Everybody is knit together enough through a person-to-person social structure here that I don't think that would be something that common.
Okay, so we have their address then, or something, or their general location. I guess we can just start asking around if people are knit together like that. So let's ask a local.
Okay.
Maybe not right here. Maybe we go away from this crowd of. Well, I don't know. I'm not the caller, but it's just a suggestion. We don't do it right here, just because we were just seen speaking to the police and being pointed at incorrectly by some barger.
let's step into the store and buy Jackson a filter mask so he doesn't have to use his vac suit.
Yeah. I want to meet this general store owner too.
Okay. So you go into you follow the signs to Rush's Fishing Appliances and Dime Store.
Yes.
All right. Let's see here. All right. You outside, you see a Varger in a mask. Even the store is kind of like half submerged. And so you kind of have to go down in, and then it has like a sealed pressure lock when you go into buildings here. At least just like a plug type door. And this Varger is outside working. And you see that the sign for Runish's Fishing Appliances and Dime Store, which is all a big kind of like lit up sign, some of the lights aren't working. And she's like trying to get one of them to work. And then as you approach, you startle her and pop, and she pops one out. And now it says Runish's effing Appliances and Dime Store.
There you go.
And she's like, oh.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay, I guess. Oh, man. Runish is going to be so mad at me.
Well, maybe we can throw some business their way. Take her mind off of it.
You say that in character? Of course you do. You said it out loud.
Sure.
Yes. Really? You would? Oh, gosh. Oh, great. Come on. And she goes inside, opens the door for you, takes her mask off. And she's like, if you come to do some fishing, oh, I see you're in suits. You're travelers. You're here for a hunt, aren't you?
Well, I just need a mask. Want to get out of this vac suit.
It's a package deal. It's a package deal. You get the mask, and it comes with a harpoon and a rope.
Outstanding.
All for 50 credits.
All for 50 credits?
Wait, hold on. Let me see how much a mask is.
It's a lot more than that.
It's like a lot more than that
That's
for a combo mask.
150.
Well, I mean, it's
I don't think
double or
that.
triple.
I don't even know if they would have like a.
Wait a second. You're completely ruining my spiel. Okay, I was going to run with that and get a mask and a harpoon and a rope for 50 credits, but that's okay. It's okay.
Is this like a thrown harpoon? What kind of harpoon are we
Yeah,
talking
it's just
about?
a thrown harpoon. That's it.
What do people hunt with that thing?
Yeah, you could ask her if you want.
I did ask. That's what
You
I
do. You said in character. Yeah, she says.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the midget subs at the harbor. They have a firing mechanism. They hunt some of the sea life.
Oh, okay.
We have a very vibrant fishing industry here on Walston. Welcome to Walston, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do have
Very hot. Perfect.
So it has filter and respirator, which allows breathing of a very thin, tainted atmosphere, which I think
Right.
I may have gotten that wrong. I believe I did. I got that wrong in the other group because it specifically says very thin. So I think a respirator,
Would be more along the lines.
and it makes me wonder, do you need O2 to operate that aspect of it? Like, if you're trying to get O2, you need O2. It's not going to give you chemical oxygen, and it's not going to generate it. Otherwise, it wouldn't sell
Right.
O2. So I would say you could use a combo mask, but to get the O2 benefit, you either need O2 tanks, or you need access to an O2 atmosphere. That's
Right.
gonna.
But if we have an oxygen atmosphere that's just tainted,
You
then
can just walk
the,
outside. It'll be at it'll be thin, but yeah, it'll work. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
she says 200 credits for a mask and a rope and a harpoon. It's a deal. It's a deal we have running.
Oh,
just today.
absolutely. I agree. That's
She looks
excellent.
so
I
relieved.
hand over the credits.
She rushes. She knocks something else over off a table, and she's like, "Forgive me, Father." And then she like gathers a bunch of stuff, and my mom and dad. You hear her muttering under her breath, and then she puts it all out on to sell you this big, heavy, like it's used for boats and stuff.
Right.
And then a big harpoon thing, which I'll say that is a unimproved melee weapon, like a spear, without
Sure.
looking it up. And then a combo mask.
Okay. Cool. I'll hand over the credits.
All right. Is there anything else anybody else wants?
It's female, right?
Yeah, female
Yeah.
Parker.
Excuse me, young lady. You wouldn't happen to know where the Mastertons live, do you?
Oh, well, that's easy. And she points to the biggest building out the outside, like the big government building.
Oh, are they the mayor is here or something?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's right. You've never been here. Dictator Masterston and his family have ran Walston for ever since we migrated here about 100 years ago.
I see. Benevolent, are they?
Where did you migrate from?
There was it was before the Fourth Frontier War. There was a crisis on our home world, and I wasn't born yet. But there was some sort of crisis, and they resettled here. I can look it up, but century-old thing here. Let's see here. Actually, I may have it here, depending on how curious you are.
Very.
All right. Let's see. I apologize. I don't have it. I don't remember. But she tells you that there was basically a crisis on their world over 100 years ago, and they were forced to evacuate as one group and find a place to settle. And they came here and made the best of what was at the time a rough, dusty frontier world without the amazing city that you see outside.
Well, thank you so much.
What can you tell us about the Mastertons?
Oh, well, I have a family that works for him, actually, directly. She's his driver, in fact. Personal driver for air car. But, what can I say? They're... Seems like they wear the crown of authority heavily on their head. They're very serious and dour people sometimes. But, I don't know. They seem okay, I suppose.
Thank you kindly.
Can I interest you in these? They're unique. And she goes over to like some fishing lure. Like some weird, stinky fishing bait. Like live organisms that attract fish.
Yes, young lady. I think you can.
She gets so excited. She packages it up. She's like 10 credits, and it's this package of squirming maggot things that are.
I'm ill-equipped for fishing. Surely you have the rest of my needs as well.
Oh, well, yes, of course. Let's see, and she gives you some line that's like super high, spider silk, high tensile strength line that is like stronger than steel but thin, and it's like hundreds of feet of it, you know, just like for a big giant fishing rod, you know, and then the rods are not something that they use. They don't just use rods. What else could she give you?
What do they hook the line to?
It's something that goes in their subs. They have submarines, and then they detect stuff with their subs using, you know, like fish finders, like simple sonar type things, and then they.
I look at the line. I look at the harpoon, and I say, What size are these fish?
Oh, well, one of them is quite large. It's called a bracar. It's, runs probably half the length of this store.
I see.
That's when they bring in a great haul, is whenever they can manage to snag a bracar.
Dangerous, I suppose?
Oh yeah, these aren't swimming waters.
We're learning a lot. Well, I thank you again. How much for the line?
Since it has the line, I'll say it's 30 credits.
Yep.
And you also get what was the other thing she...
Bait.
Bait, that's what it is.
Not quite sure what I'll do with the bait, but I've got it. Do you
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. I'll ask for a backpack as well. Since I've got all this.
Yeah, they don't have something per se like that, but she works with what she has, and but she only charges you like 1 credit for it, and it's basically something like a duffel bag that she manages to take the handles and put to kind of turn them into straps.
Okay, well, I can't think of anything else I want to randomly spend money on, so.
Maybe a map?
That's a great idea.
Maybe a map of the surrounding area?
She says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't really have maps. Where are you trying to get to, though?"
Well, I mean, That's really kind of what we were trying to decide. I thought a map would actually help us make that decision.
Well, I could tell you what's around, but it depends on what you need.
Well, we're tourists, so we want to, see the local flora and fauna.
Oh, outdoorsman then.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, if you like the outdoors, there are the hunting expeditions that happen every so often. I don't really know where the hunters come from, though. I assume they're off-worlders. So
Right.
That's what I think sometimes people do. And then there's Mount Selbari. But I don't think that to me doesn't seem like a very safe thing for and no offense, but looking at your equipment. I mean, I think if you were to try to hike or climb Mount Selbari, you might need camping equipment or something, a shelter, light, maybe weapons even for the outdoors, for the wildlife.
They'll sell that?
And she looks at you and she's like, yeah. And then she goes and she basically produces like fillet knives in case you don't have knives. And she's got more harpoons. And
I'd like to.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to, using my streetwise skill, have an eye at her. The way she said that, like, maybe this is a person that we can speak to about getting our hands on something more serious.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, I think you're able to tell that this person's under the thumb of the manager here, and she's trying to make up for her mistake with some good sales. You're able to tell that she has some connections, though. I mean, her relative is literally the personal driver of the ruler of the world. So what happens is you have Vargar that are connected to Vargar, and the humans really kind of rule over them. That's what you've observed. And you think if you think you could probably get more out of her, the grift would be to try to solve her problem with her employer somehow. But she's not some kind of criminal that has like an arms dealer on call or something.
No. I just mean it. Maybe you just.
And you don't get the impression that that there's that much kind of stuff going on this world.
Okay. All right.
All right. Jason, what do you do next?
Well, I think we're either going to need to find a way to get access to a serious computer system, or we're going to just need to go to the government building and see what we can find out.
I definitely think you should have a chat with Dictator Masterton.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go talk to the officials.
But it's basically going to have to be you, because it's going to be a situation where, your presence forces him to take. I mean, not forces him, but might give him a better chance of taking us seriously and being helpful and not cagey.
Well, then let's go get a hotel and I'll put on my shiny shoes.
Hotel's a good idea.
Yeah, so we go to a hotel, or we look for one.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you find it's a place on the edge of town. It's like a motel. You get the impression that this is a place for locals. They have little pods that are external, like outbuildings. And it's very cheap to stay here. It's only like 10 credits a night per person.
So it's like this like the space version of those little cubbies in Japan.
Yeah, something between a cubby and a Motel 6. So like a tiny, not, it's not like literally you slide into a pod, but it's also not a full room. It's just a small room and a bed and a place to wash. It's like a half Connex. Chew or something. And there are all these little outbuildings like that. And it's clear that this is for people from other cities on the planet or villages or towns, and they come in here for some business and they have to stay and they can't make it back via train for some reason.
Okay, well, I get one, and then I change into nicer clothes, put on my breather thingy.
What's everybody else doing? What about Shipley and like Jackson? Where you all? Is the plan for the group to just try to spruce up as best as you can and get out of the vac suit and use your oxygen mask? And...
Right. I actually wanted to ask a question about local government. Is the local dictator the only government on the planet, or is there any imperial representatives, or like maybe Scout Service representatives? Maybe.
Who do you ask that?
I can answer. I think Klaus could answer with the same answer that I would answer, but I don't want to stick in him. If he's asking Klaus in character, or asking anybody else in character.
At this point, we have we've been tasked by these Imperial Scout Service to find this ship. If there is somebody on the planet who represents the Scout Service, maybe we can coordinate with them, and they could give us a little more information about where the ship is, so we can achieve that goal. Is what I'm saying.
Well, it sounds to me like the reception that you all had at the customs was not favorable towards towards the Scout Service. So, and this guy's the law. The law flows from him. The admin, the administration is him. Didn't she say the big building was his house?
It's probably a government palace.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's personal government. Obviously, there's a bureaucracy, but if there's anyone on the planet that we can actually tell who we are,
right?
It might be him.
Okay.
But it's a risk, obviously.
Right.
But if he's running this place, he's probably not an ignoramus.
Well, all life is a risk.
Yeah.
And we need to get this job done.
Right.
It'd be better to have the local law on our side.
Yeah, we really haven't had the best luck with local anything.
Now these people
at the motel.
Now these cops, though, they straight up asked us for our help.
Yeah.
In that investigation. So that's another idea. Maybe we could just say, what, we're travelers. Sure, we'll help you out with your investigation. What do you got? That might actually be a quicker and possibly easier route, but than going to speak to Masterton directly. But
right.
But then again, we have a noble with us, and so that's an in possibly. So it could really go either way.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Were you saying something?
No, I just wanted to make sure my mic was working. If we do go to the Mastertons, do we have anything that we'd be prepared to offer them in return if they ask us, like, I don't know, for a favor or something?
Well, I mean, we're offering to get the ship off their planet. I'm sure that would be something they would want.
Yeah, that's true. We can say that we're helping to wrap up the whole incident with the crew and make sure they don't come back.
Wouldn't that be admitting that we lied to customs to get in?
No, because I didn't lie. I told them that I wasn't associated with those criminals.
Yeah, but I mean, when we came in with tourist visas, as opposed to saying we were the official crew of the High and Dry sent to retrieve it or whatever.
Well, that was because of a bureaucratic system malfunction.
Yeah,
exactly. But my point is that if we
bureaucrats, they're not going to like that.
Well, also, though, if we go to speak to Masterton directly, you're not dealing with the bureaucratic system anymore. You're dealing with the guy that can tell you what it is and then have you just arrested and do whatever he wants immediately. So if he decides that he doesn't like our look, that could change. It's not. So anyway, just laying out what I see as the risks. And like you say, it's all risk.
Right.
But we know the police need help with this specific thing.
Well, I mean, the people that they want to arrest, I'm assuming we're talking about the High and Dry, right? Or are we talking about the two Vargar?
I'm talking about the High and Dry, right? They specifically said if we're still, that's an active investigation, and if they I thought it was kind of odd that they would just ask us for our help, and that kind of like maybe it wasn't the right time to say yes right then, but.
Well, I mean, the people that they want to arrest is already in custody. And
Which we told. Yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that they don't know that is, just saying information doesn't get,
The Starport Authority. The Starport Authority is not the same, or at least it's not always the same as the Planetary Authority.
Right.
It's got its own interstellar law type thing.
Right. I don't know, we got several ways we could do this. I'm just trying to figure out the quickest way from A to B.
I think we should approach the government building and speak to a clerk there and see where it goes.
So
at least that's the direction.
All right, so you all you all pay 10 credits for a motel, right? And you get cleaned up.
Sure.
Use the refresher, get all showered up, and take your big spacesuit off that's covered in dust and everything now. And what's everybody wearing? Like, you all probably look like regular travelers, right? Like you got like jeans and leather jackets and
an old 3/4 length, coat.
3/4 length coat. All right, yeah. All right. What
you said blades were allowed? You said blades. Did you mean all blades, or just like earlier you had said daggers? So is it just daggers?
Yeah, just daggers. Daggers and smaller. So any blade that's a dagger or smaller. All right, cool. So
I don't arm myself at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to leave my weapons as well.
Oh no,
I do not. I do not want to leave my weapon.
Yeah, I've already left 2 weapons behind. I'm not leaving a third.
Hey, look, a 6.
It is now the 5th hour. Let's see here, in Central Lake City. 3-4. And as you're walking towards the largest building in town, You notice that all the signs for the town seem to kind of point towards this area. You've got a sign that says, let's see, it says Off-World Affairs, a sign that says Department of Fisheries, World Government, and Public Relations. World Government Public Relations. So you're heading towards this large, and it's made of kind of a different material. It has that brutalist, postmodern look to it that just looks like a big stone bunker, whereas everything else kind of has this junky but very colorful look, where the Vargar have like put loud colors all over their little hovels that they have half buried in the ground, buildings. And you see a group of 5 people here in masks and walking around the street, and they're all humans. They're pointing at the Vargar and they're pointing at everything. They come up to you and they're like, excuse me, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. We're here to do a fishing expedition, and we're not from this world. Could you point us in the direction of where we could get some fishing supplies?
I hand him my package of bait.
You hand him this thing of it's covered, but it's translucent, and it's just this wild mass of squirming bright green maggots, and he's like, oh, and he just holds it like he doesn't want to drop it. You know, you kind of put it in his arms. What's your intention?
Consider it a gift from me. I don't think I'll be needing it this time around, but you can find the rest of what you need and back that way.
He holds it in front of him, surprised and scared, like he's holding a bomb, and just stumbles around with it. All his friends back away from him.
They tell me this is the bait.
Oh, the bait. Emphasis, the bait. You want to catch him, they'll catch him.
He's like, okay. Eventually puts the bait down.
Oh, mercy. All right, so
yeah, what do you do? You leave him with the squirming maggots and keep going, or
absolutely.
Okay,
yes,
all right,
definitely.
All right, so yeah, you just push some giant squirming green, 2-foot long, 3-inch wide maggots in his arms, and then you walk off.
Farmer's about to bite us in the ass. Yep.
And you keep going towards the government building. You go inside, and you're able to close the plug door, take your mask off, get the dust outside off yourself. Of course, Jason has a immaculate, fine designer suit on with incredibly nice, rare shoes that he's purchased, and you see a government a municipal building, the inside of it, where there's like kind of utility areas where you can go up like stairs. There's like a stairwell. But the stairwell's purpose is an access to like an electronics room or something like that, and then right immediately past that stairwell, you've got this foyer, and the whole thing has this oppressive drab green color to it, and the like really oppressive kind of like fluorescent type lighting. And there is a desk here, which you presume would be for someone to greet you. And let's see if it's empty. It is not empty. There is someone there. There's a woman here who looks up, and by the way, all the people here, I've mentioned this before, they're very short people, and they wear dark clothes with a dark kilt. So not like a Scottish kilt, but like just like, sort of almost looks like an apron more than a skirt, but everybody has these kilts on, and then they all have dark skin and then blotches of like and strands of violet, and they have violet pupils, and she's sitting there and she looks up and she says, "Oh, hello, welcome to the government world government building. What can I do for you?"
Greetings, ma'am. My name is Jason McClure, and we were wondering if we could have access to the Hall of Records.
Oh, looks around. She's like, "Oh, no, he's not in today. No, I'm sorry. I don't think I can give access to the records room. I think you would need to speak to a director first to do that."
Is it possible to make an appointment with the director?
And she looks, and you're just so like immaculately dressed. You have this presence about you, and she's like, "Well, sir, I'll go ask right away." And she gets up, walks off, let's see here.
I look around for any cameras.
Yeah, you look around for cameras, and you look in the different places that you'd spot, a good a fisheye or some kind of scanner. And this place is its physical security is weak, actually. In fact, what you notice instead is for physical security that this camera, there are security guards. There's a set of them all the way down the hall, and you notice that there are some that are patrolling the outside. But apart from this place being guarded with security, it doesn't look like they've invested a lot in things like cameras. Anyways, let's see here. You wait around for a few minutes. And she comes back and she says, I apologize, sir, but may I ask what business you have on Walston? It may help me ensure that I can get you to the right department.
Well, we have a number of issues to address. One would be the issue of our visas. And because we were required to get tourist visas because we represent the Scout Service, but for some bureaucratic reason we were denied entry.
Wow. I think I know the director that would manage that. What other problems do you have, sir?
I'd like to look into the fate of the... What was the name of the ship?
High and dry.
High and dry.
The fate of the High and Dry. Its crew were apprehended off-world, and they admitted to the authorities that they left it here.
Oh, okay.
The Scout Service, which is to recover its vessel.
All right, sir. I think I know who would handle that. Anything else?
I turn and look at the group.
I'm good.
I think that covers it.
Okay, very well. If you'll follow me, I have a place that that you might be more comfortable.
I follow her.
Okay. She leads you into a reception room. It's clear that this is a place VIPs are taken to. It has soft, cushy leather seats and a separate, gentler lighting scheme, and some different electronic displays that could be used for briefings or presentations for corporate interests from off-world. And she also puts out for you to enjoy And this can count for your food for the day if you haven't already eaten anywhere else. Let's see, some coffee and wine, 2 carafes, and a plate of fairly good but sort of mediocre to good cookies.
I politely partake.
Nothing better than cookies and wine.
Yeah, and
Coffee and what? Coffee and cookies.
it takes a few more minutes, but someone shows up in a suit, and they're wearing a lapel, which, although you've never seen it before, you assume is the world government symbol, the planet. And
I politely stand up as soon as they enter the room.
and he nods, and he also has dark skin. He's a middle-aged man, violet eyes, balding, and he kind of salt and pepper hair where he's getting older on the sides. And he comes over and reaches out his hand. You know, this ancient human custom reaches out his hand to shake your hand. He says, "Hello, my name is Director Greener, Alan Greener."
Greetings, Director. Jason LaCour.
Jason LaCour. My secretary told me that you represent, is it the Third Imperium? You're here from the Imperial Scout Service?
That is correct, sir.
I see. Well, it sounds very important. Why don't you all follow me? And,
I follow.
And we'll have the cookies brought in as well. I don't want to... I know they're very good. They're not very good. And
I'm loving them. I never turned down a cookie.
Yeah.
Never.
You go down the hall. In fact, the cookies, they would be good. It's not that they're bad. It's more that something is off. And it's 2 things that's off. One is that they're a bit stale, like they're a bit crunchy. And the other thing is a hint of a gamey taste. You can't identify at first, and you kind of like the cognitive dissonance starts to kind of clear, and then you're like, this is fish. So chocolate chip fish cookies.
Fish. Oh.
And they're not bad, but
Yeah,
they might be
not
wrong.
Yeah.
Once I realized that, I put the cookie down.
You're not going to finish that?
No, please, by all means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I pour myself another cup of coffee and try to wash down the taste.
Yeah. Now, the coffee is great. This is the best coffee you've had in 2 worlds. You can say that now. You're back to traveling. You've been to 2 worlds. The best coffee you've had probably since 3 worlds, since before Flammarion. So it's strong and hot and heart and thick. All right.
Keeps my heart
So you follow him down to the end of the hall, and you see on his door a plaque that's made Director Alan Greener, Minister of Off-World Affairs, Public Relations, and Fisheries. And he says, I apologize that if you had to wait. I hope you weren't inconvenienced too badly. He motions for you to the room, and there's comfy seats inside to take.
Not at all. This is a very relaxing world. Things seem to move at a leisurely pace. I'm quite happy with that.
He loves that you say that. He smiles, that you're complimenting his world, and he nods because he thinks that, And then he comes in and sits down at his desk, and he says, "Now, please tell me, do you want to open up? Is the Third Imperium reconsidered our deal about a preliminary scout base, shipping lane? We've worked through all the details since the last visit." This silence happens in character.
Sadly, I'm not privy to those kinds of negotiations.
Oh, I see. Well, then, how can we help you?
I can't believe I forgot the name of the ship again. I have
High and dry.
High and dry. High and
One
dry.
name. All one name.
After their apprehension, the crew of the High and Dry revealed that they had left the ship here. And we were tasked by the Scout Service to reacquire the vessel on the service's behalf.
Do you have some paperwork from the Scout Service? No offense, I just it helps to be able to pass this up to Dictator Masterston, of course.
I turn and look at Klaus because I think Klaus probably has it.
I'm sure I do. It's the lifeline to my ship. So if anyone's got it and there's such a physical item, I will have certainly collected it.
All right. Yeah, you guys have a copy, and they're still using paper. You have papers.
Sure.
And they look at the paper. It's probably not made of wood. It's probably made of some mulched goo.
Imperial paper is a thing.
I love it, actually. Okay,
And
so
it's
anyways.
like uncopyable. I mean, not uncopyable, but unforgeable type thing.
Oh, nice. All right, well, so he looks at it, and he's like, well, he looks in his computer. It says, you're here as tourists. That doesn't make any sense, but I can talk to the Starport Authority. He's probably screwed this up again. I apologize.
Well, that was the other issue we came to clear up because we are registered as its crew, but we are obviously not the criminals who were wanted.
Of course.
But we were denied entry because we were the crew rather than identified specifically as individuals.
Unbelievable. I am going to call Ming King, and he's going to lose his job over this. We can't afford nonsense like this.
Absolutely not. I sternly.
You interject.
Mr. Ming was exceptionally helpful.
Mr. Ming is the reason why you were listed here as tourists. It's his job to ensure that this is done properly. Never mind that. We can talk about that later. Let's talk about something important here, the high and dry for a second. Let's see here. He looks at his computer system, looks at his stuff. Yes, I see. We know where the ship is. I think that we can get it for you. Or rather, I think we can help you get it. Yes, I remember this. It was one of the most exciting things that happened here a month ago. That crew, frankly, were a bunch of troublemakers.
I've heard.
Unfortunately, at the time, we didn't have anyone else for the job that I had for them to do. There were no other contractors in the area, and to our bad fortune, the High and Dry made runs in and out of this planet for about 4 months straight, tearing up the hotel, the starport, and angering just about anyone within 500 kilometers. They were offered a simple job, and somehow not only did they manage not to get the job completed, but they disabled their own ship in the process. That's why it was abandoned here on the planet. They took the ship's air raft, they trashed it too, but barely made it here into town. Then they stole someone else's air raft and made it the rest of the way to the starport and smuggled themselves onto a freelancer and made it off-world.
We gathered something of that nature. We didn't know the specifics, but we heard about the air rafts.
I'll tell you what.
So what was this job that they were supposed to do, and what is the bill for the damages? I'll see if the Scout Service can compensate.
No, please don't do that. Don't worry about that. But I'll make you a deal. We'll tell you where the ship is. I'll get you a ride as close as we can get you to the ship. On the condition that if you do that, you agree to complete the job. They've already taken most of the funds. I can offer a flat fee for the whole crew of 3,000 credits, but it'll also help you get the ship.
Cool.
I would be willing to do
That
that.
sounds good. Yes, that sounds good to me.
Great. Good. I'm sure that you are not like this last crew. I'm sure you can get this job done. It's not a complex job, especially for a scout courier. You see, we hired a geologist here about a year ago to do a survey of Mount Solbari. Mount Solbari, you may be seen it if you've looked up in town down to the south toward the coast. It's the largest mountain structure. It's volcanic, and so some people had reported shudders or changes, or we've seen chasms and things, and I think
So
it's
like activity.
yeah, that maybe it's that there is some sort of activity. I've seen no indication of this. So we hired a geologist about a year ago now, and the geologist gave us a report where they were 99% certain, based on their readings, that the volcano was inert. Well, I wanted to bring that to a 99.9%, a very simple job for a scout courier. A scout courier has intensive, as you know, working for the scout service, intensive survey equipment and powerful sensors. And so use the survey equipment and the sensors to get readings on the volcano and then simply land at the starport and transfer that data. Piece of cake. And as I said, they wrecked their ship. It looks like they hadn't maintained it.
I look at him with abject disbelief, and I said, and they weren't able to complete this task.
Yeah, it looks like they didn't maintain their own ship and that it broke down in flight, and they had to land it out in the wild, and they abandoned it. And then they didn't complete the job and just left the ship there. Well, anyways, that's the job.
Okay.
All right.
And what's wrong with the ship?
I'm not sure. I think it's well past maintenance, though. It probably needs to be put into an overhaul. I'm no traveler or ship's engineer, but that seems to have been the problem. I don't know the specifics, though.
But we'll know when we take a look at it.
Yes, but if it can't move, then how do we get it back?
Out of character, your patron was confident. You have 2 flight cases of repair parts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the repair parts.
Well, anyways, the High and Dry. It's located on a place called Settlement Island. It's in the caldera of Mount Solbari.
Guess we better hope it's inert.
Yes, the inner portion of the volcano.
Right.
They had landed it on the island. Took the air car from there.
So I do have a question to the official. Since we are actually on an official mission for the Scout Services, is there any chance that we can retrieve the equipment that we were asked to place in the lockers upon entry?
Well, I suppose I could get that to you, but I'll be honest with you, it might take several days.
Okay.
It's one downside to having a slow pace in life.
Of course.
could you possibly give us a order for it? And we could hop on the train and go retrieve it ourselves, as long as you give us the authority to acquire, because the spare parts we have are locked up.
No, you have the flight cases. You were able to get those through.
Yeah, we used them when we were looking at the aircraft, remember?
Oh, so we just don't have our weapons.
Right.
And yeah.
Well, is it worth waiting days? What kind of... You don't anticipate... Are there bandits about?
Is there any predatory wildlife out there that we should have to worry about? I asked the official.
Yeah, that's possible. There's a... Maybe you could ask around. I'm not much of an outdoorsman. And no, nobody really has gone up Mount Silbari in a long time. The geologists use survey equipment at a distance. That's why the scans from a scout carrier would have been very helpful to nail down the certainty. But it's just not something even any of us would know much about.
How were you expecting to get us to the location of the ship? Because you said you could get us close to it.
I didn't say close. I can get you closer. I can have one of our drivers bring you to about 500 meters up the mountainside.
Okay.
That's near the forest, but that's about as far as a ground car will be able to go. The path at that point, we wouldn't be able to go further, and I can't requisition a grav car for you. I'm sorry.
It might be worth waiting those days then if we have to trek through a forest. Hopefully have beasts.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat there. Considering the possibility of predatory animals, I mean, that might be a good idea.
Would it be possible to assign, either loan us some equipment for self-defense or a guard or two?
I'm sorry, no, I don't think we can do that. You'll have to forgive us, but we already invested in this previous crew. I actually have a lot of money lost on that. The credits I'm offering are not the full price of the job. It's just that we don't have the budget to provide anything else.
I understand. So, before we go any further, if we wanted to get our weapons, just in case there's any wildlife out there, are you going to prohibit us from having our own personal defense?
Well, I think that's what's going to take me several days. I'll have to establish a contract. You'll need to sign it and act as government contractors. It'll be similar to what we do to some off-world hunters. The weapons will have to be checked in and out from law enforcement when you head out into the wild. And then you'll need to check it back in with law enforcement when you come back.
Well, I'll defer to the group in this regard. Do you all want to wait?
It could mean our lives.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion.
It's better to be prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, they're asking me to go into the wild with a dagger. I'm not very comfortable with that.
Well, let's hope that the volcano doesn't erupt in the meantime.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I don't think no matter what I bring, is going to make a big difference.
Well, Director Greener, you've been most helpful thus far. We agree to your terms, and I suppose we'll have to sit on our hands for a few days.
We could at least. I'm afraid we don't have very much as far as a good stay here. We could send you back via the train. It's just a 30-minute ride, and I think we can pay for that. That is owned by the World Government Organization here. So the hotel there at the starport is the best place to stay for visitors. That's usually where we have honored guests stay.
Again, I kind of look around at the group to see if y'all are in assent or how you feel about it.
Yes. Let's
Sounds good
try
to
to
me.
retrieve our equipment.
Yep.
All right. He has you wait, and then if you want to do that, he'll have you sign the contract that the previous crew. It's been amended. You take a look at it. Klaus seems above board. And then there's an additional contract that you can see has basically been edited from like a hunting contract, and it even still includes like limits on how much you can kill and what you can kill and everything. Essentially, you can't kill more than like 12 types of each animal that you might encounter or something like that without breaking the law here. And if you sign all that, then he wishes you the best, and then you have a voucher to take the train, go back to the starport, and you receive a message 3 days later to be there in the morning at the government office to come back via the train on the fourth day. And the train's full of guards that day, and you find yourself kind of packed in with a bunch of guards. And you come back to the government office, and they have a Varger with what looks like a pickup truck, and two police officers in their own ground car have cases that have your what you assume is your equipment, and they drive you out to to the edge of town, and the police officers have you sign some forms. Klaus, you check the forms. They look perfectly above board, and you now have your weapons and your armor. You can't have your armor and your vac suit. I'll say you got to pick. You can't, like, if you have bulky armor, do one or the other. But your vac suit has an O2 supply.
Yeah, but we've determined that there is oxygen. It's just a tainted atmosphere, and so the respirators should take care of that, right?
Yeah, you are climbing a mountain, though.
Well,
A volcanic mountain specifically. I'll wear my vac suit.
When you look off in the distance, if you've ever looked at, for me, I think volcanic mountains, like conical mountains, like Mount Rainier. I climbed Mount Fuji, and it looks like this big cone off in the distance. It's imposing. They tower up another 10,000 feet, and your oxygen level is probably at 10,000 feet where you're currently at. So to be clear, you probably are not going to suffocate and die at 20,000 feet, right? Just like that. But the air is very thin by the time you get to 20,000 feet.
So this combo mask is supposed to be respirator plus filter.
Yeah, I looked at it, and the way I see it, unless it doesn't have anything at 150 credits, it doesn't make sense that you would have to buy separate oxygen at 500 credits. I think I saw oxygen tanks are 500 credits that provides independent breathing from smoke, dust, gas, exotic atmospheres at type A. And then the combo mask, it has type 2. Now, I'm not going to worry about it and look that up, but the way I look at it is 1 is going to allow you to breathe tainted atmosphere, but it does not have its own independent pure O2 supply. The other one will have pure cylinderized compressed O2. So your vac suit will have that. You could wear your vac suit, wear your mask, and then have your helmet with you. But
that was my plan.
I'm not going to say that the combo mask has its own pure O2.
Okay.
It would, for example, not work in vacuum. Ergo, it would also not work when you start running out of pressure oxygen either.
Right.
I'm just going to wear my mask and my vac suit until the mask isn't working anymore, and then put the helmet on.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the driver, let's see here. The driver takes you out. Do one more roll here. Then we start animal rolls. You notice that there's a a group of humans, and this is a strange sight after you've been on this world for a while, because most of the people you've dealt with, especially groups of people, are all Vargar. The humans are a small minority here, and to see a group of humans together, you get the sense that they're travelers, and they're off kind of at the edge of town, hanging out near a building. Some of them are pointing to you. You can see them. You don't hear what they're saying, but it's just something you notice before you get your guns together. And then there's a female Vargar here, and she says, "Well, all right. They say I'm supposed to take you up to Mount Sabari. I guess you must have one of those hunting contracts."
Something like that. Do you know who those people are?
Oh, those
They're
people
probably
standing over there?
Yeah.
That's a merchant crew that came in. They came into Crystal Lake City, just or Central Lake City, about a day ago, and I don't know. I don't know why they're here. I mean, I don't know why you're here. No offense, but. Well, anyways, though, my name's, let's see here. Family.
Have you ever been up this mountain before?
Oh, no, nobody's been up the mountain in a long time. People don't really go up there. It's, let's see. Oh, I see now. Lothak is my name. I heard you spoke to my cousin Sagrizare. You know, over at Runish's.
Oh, you're the dictator's driver.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Oh, thank you. Well, anyways, should we get going?
Yes, of course.
Well, okay. And they just load you back in the back of a pickup in the flatbed, and it's just her now. She's just driving a ground car out into the wild, and you go for about an hour and a half until finally you come into the foothills. There's a forest, and she takes this bumpy, rough path. You're getting knocked around the back of the pickup truck. And you can already feel the air is kind of getting thinner, and you feel your ears pop, and the pressure changes in your eardrums. And she gets to the edge of the forest, and you can tell that the pickup truck, this ground car, is not going to go any further. And she says, you know, from her mask, "All right, well, this is as far as I could take you."
As we're driving, I mean, like, how long is the trip?
Let's see. It is about 40 kilometers. So it takes you about an hour and a half of bumpy off-road and sometimes unimproved and sometimes better driving to get there.
Looking back, is anyone following us?
You look back, it doesn't look like anybody's following you. This whole place looks desolate. For the most part, this picture's a pretty good representation. It's rocky, it's barren. What would be clouds that move, pretty swiftly and near the jet stream on Earth is kind of closer to the ground here. So you have this like obscuration that's moving by and dust that's blowing off the ground, and then you've got going past. You did drive past a lake, and you kind of drive all the way around the lake for about 20 minutes, and then you go into a forest and then drive up past the forest. Now, if you're keeping an eye out this whole time behind you all to see if anybody's following, you don't notice anything. Don't notice anyone following you.
Forgot that I have to press the space bar in order to talk. I mean, I keep an eye out in general. I look around for, like, being followed, but also if there's any, like, monsters to get an idea of what we might end up running into.
Okay. Well, since you drive for an hour and a half, I'm going to say this is a very difficult check, but throw for a 10 plus.
Okay.
2d6 to get a 10 or above. And I think what happens is you just don't really notice. For the most part, this place is pretty barren. You don't really notice lots of wildlife. You don't notice any air, what do you call it, birds or anything. And really nothing even much like mosquitoes. Or, I'm sorry, insects in general. You don't see bugs, birds, and you don't see any animals during the drive.
All right, great. Well, we get out and start walking.
Just double check with the what did you say? I wanted to say Vorlak. That's not it.
Oh, her name?
Yeah.
Oh, she's let's see. Her name is I have it back here. Lothak.
Lothak.
Says her name is Lothak.
What do people hunt out here?
Oh, yeah. Well, let me see here. There's a large beast that they say is out here in the wilderness. Honestly, I think you Outworlders are kind of strange, wanting to go out into the wild. None of us ever do it. We don't go out here. We stick mostly to fishing. But they say that there's a large beast out here called the Myciniid. It's this big, burly thing with a large front, and it's got 3 eyes, and they say it's a pretty fearsome beast. A lot of the hunters like to tell stories about how they bring one down and so on and so forth. I think it's tall tales, if you ask me. And I've never even seen one in my life. I mean, if that's what you mean, there's a few critters out here. I have seen some animals out here, though.
Well, anything dangerous?
Well, I suppose if you were in a vulnerable enough position, one thing that could be dangerous out here would be the wolves. They're called tinctures. They're just quadrupedal, they're canine, and they're very rugged and stringy wolves that live off the little critters that stay out in the rocks up there.
Okay, well that's good to know.
And then there's the little critters. I think they're cute. I have seen some of those. I even know some people that keep them as pets.
Well, thank you.
All right, well, best of luck to you all. And she gets back in her ground car and she leaves.
Okay, we're committed now.
We are indeed just us and the wolves.
All right. Well, I mean, we have a general idea where we need to go. So let's form up and start marching.
All right. Let's see here. 4. Let me make some checks here. You start climbing up. Start hiking. It's a hike so far. It's not so much you don't have to pump your legs or bring them up to your chest or anything. And you are carrying these 2 flight cases. One person has a duffel bag with some gear in it. You have what other gear that you've got, that you brought with you. Let's see here. You travel for about 4 hours, making your way up. Let's see. After 4 hours, the path becomes really narrow. And at this point, you can assume you get an early start to the day. They're trying to help you with that. So you get out to the city, the capital, very early in the morning. So, we'll say that this is just like, 11 a.m. so far, after 4 hours. And the path starts to narrow and become a rocky ridgeline. The path either side of the ridgeline becomes harder to traverse. And it would require you to either traverse this narrow ridgeline, or you'll have to backtrack and go around to try to find a switchback to go further up. It'll add probably another 2D hours. You're not sure how long, but a long period of hours. It'll probably take all day to try to make it. What do you do?
My vote is to continue on single file.
Yes, the sooner the better.
All right.
Well, I mean, as long as we don't have to stop for food or water, I think we should continue.
All right. I have, let's see. Jason, all of a sudden the narrow path gives way. Make a dexterity check to meet a 8+. You make it, barely. Your foot starts to give. Maybe some of your companions are able to help you and steady you on the path. As your foot comes down, it crumbles and stones and scree tumble off down below. It makes a tinny sound, almost like you're in, when you're operating in space, where sound has that echo, and you're kind of in your helmet, and you can hear yourself breathing loudly.
I have a 10 dex, by the way.
Okay, nice. Let's see here. I wonder if I have this.
No,
I could have just clicked on the skill, couldn't I?
Jackson, you have rope, and I have several hundred feet of this high-tension, heavy-duty, advanced fishing line. Maybe it's time to hook ourselves up in some kind of way.
Okay, we can do that. Kind of like make a tow, not a tow line, but a link, so everybody, when one of us falls, everybody is there to catch him.
Okay, yeah. So you make a a horizontal a safety line between everybody and hook everybody up to it, and you keep traveling.
Good thinking.
Yeah. You feel almost as you look up the mountain that it almost feels like you're just not even making progress. It doesn't feel like the peak is getting closer, and it feels like you have to work much harder here. So the path suddenly becomes steeper. From here, you could start if you're trying to get there as fast as possible. You can start trying to make it straight up the. Let's see here, straight up the path, and it would be very hard work. Alternately, you could take your time and not do the climb, and you can kind of switch back from where you are and kind of slowly make your way up, taking another 1D hours to do so. What do
Oh,
you do?
I'm thinking we're not on a time limit.
I mean, it'd be better not to break our necks if we can avoid it.
No, there's no way we're going to fly this ship out of here if all of us are injured.
All right, so
We'll take our time.
take your time. Very well. Let's see how many hours it adds. 4 hours. So let's see here. To the next one, 100 meters. It's going to take 4 checks. I believe so. You're slowly switchbacking your way up, and another 4 hours pass. That brings you to 1500 local time. And at 1500 local time, Jackson, is you're kind of slowly, you've got this line connected, and you're kind of, making your way back and forth to try to be careful and take your time and not enter some terrain where it's just going to give way. You hear a squeaking noise among the rocks where you would have your handholds. You're kind of walking. You have you're walking now with the rock face to your left, and where you would grab a hold, you hear like a and squeaking noises coming from where your handholds would be.
Yeah, I try to avoid putting my hand where there is teeth. So I try to see what's actually doing that.
A little head pokes itself out curiously, looks at you.
Does it look like it's I've encountered a nest?
Yeah, you hear a bunch of squeaking noises.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of them.
I'll just let the others know that I've encountered that and just be careful.
This thing is probably this big.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. You are at 900 meters, having taken your time with another 4 hours. And suddenly, the path gets way easier, and there's like a wide space where you can kind of loop up the mountain rapidly. Or you can try to go even faster and try to make a climb and actually climb the rock face and just go vertical and cut out some time.
Safety first.
Yeah, safety first.
I'm of the same opinion. I mean,
Is there any sign that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is there any sign that the air car traveled this way?
Yeah, you look around. It's a good question, actually. Make a 2d6, and this would be intelligence. So what's your intelligence?
It's an 8.
An 8? Okay, so an 8. All right, you make it. because you're covering this ground, so let me kind of execute this because I think this will lead to that. So you take this quick path, and a couple of things happen. First, you're able to make it up to 1,200 meters. You guys have been moving fast, and because you're able to take this path, you do that in very short time. It's almost a light jog. One thing that you notice is an area where this path has just been dug out. It's clear that the air raft, you can see its path, and it had not attempted to. As I understand it, air rafts slow down as they go higher with their gravimetrics. So like they just took it and they just took it down the mountainside because they were in a hurry. And it didn't work out well for them because at some point they did something that destroyed their air raft anyways. Maybe that was part of it. But yeah, you can see where this thing had just like the force of it had just like knocked out a bunch of stuff down. And you can see that it goes up to the lip of the caldera.
All right, well, I just indicate what I see to everybody else. I'm like, hey, scrapes on the ground. That's probably where they went.
Right.
What the hell were they running from?
The law.
Yeah.
But the law
That's
chased
we
them.
should have asked a long time ago.
The law chased them out here to this caldera, so that they had to run down the hill in an air raft.
No, they wrecked the ship, and they knew they needed to get off this planet before they paid for a failed mission.
Well, so be it. But unless they were all drunk, I mean,
Well, we're not
Well,
sure.
I met
that
one of
either.
those predators.
The air car was laden with the parts they were going to peddle. Remember, they stripped the ship.
oh, that's a good point.
All right, so yeah, you're making really good speed. However, let's see, it's now another 30 minutes, and you pass. So let's see, that's this 30 minutes, so it's 15:30 local. You're able to move really fast on this section, and you hear your breathing. It grows louder and faster, and you look over like the person next to you on the line, and you can see their chest moving really fast. And everybody can make a 8+ endurance or strength check. Let me know if you have a 10 or greater on either of those if you're making the check.
I do.
All right, you can do it at 7.
I have a 10 or greater on the strength.
All right, you can do it at 7. 7+.
Well, I fail.
No, fail.
Oh, I have a 3.
3. 7. Who got the 7? Was it somebody with a 10? You said you have a 3, Shipley?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that doesn't pass. So it sounds like nobody passed. So, you feel dizzy and nauseous. You start to... You think you almost might throw up in your mask. You have to pull it off and gag for a moment and then put the mask back on. You get a headache. And,
Helmets on, everyone.
Yep.
okay. All right, yeah, you put your helmet on. The great thing about altitude sickness, you take a moment and you can start, the headache is still there. That sucks. But as far as actually being kind of cogent, that comes back really quickly. And you get your oxygen back. You're not as hypoxic. And let's see here. Let's see, you're at 1,200. At this point, however, at 1,200 meters, a lot of the way up is just sheer rock face in several places. Alternately, you can take a long time to try to find a way around. You might have to circle around the mountain, and part of the way you may have to go back down and look around. You can either try to climb for 150 meters, or but it looks, when you look up, it looks sheer, probably for another 200 meters up. So it's either rock climbing or time. And
I say we attempt to climb.
Okay.
How will our vac suits affect that? I don't know. I don't have a sense of how bulky our vac suits are.
it will be, so the the effect of the climb. So it's a 6+ unless you on endurance or dex. To meet a 6+, if you have a 10 or above on endurance or dex, let me know.
I do.
All right, then it'd be a 5. So anybody that has a 10+, it'd be a 5. The bad thing is if you fail, it's going to be a lot of damage, and it'll just be 1. And you can assume, now you're all connected by a line, so that was a good idea. I'll actually allow everybody to kind of make another check. Otherwise, everyone would fall.
All right, I'll try to lead the way and help others.
All right. Yeah. If you are climbing, everybody can make a endurance or dexterity check. 7 passes, 8 passes, 7 passes, and what is that? 7 and 5. Okay, so the 5. What did I have here? 5 does not pass. Unless, Shipley, do you have 10 on endurance or dex?
I do not. I have 8 on both.
All right, so Shipley starts to stumble during the climb and starts to fall. So, simple enough, I'm going to go from Shipley up. So starting from Shipley, the next person I have is Jackson. Roll another check. Basically, somebody has to save the group. All right, you save her. All right, you save the whole group. You save the whole group because you grab hold of the line and you pull yourself into the mountainside for the first. This is for the first 150 meters up to 1350. And Shipley, you're able to hang on to the rope, and then you pull yourself in, and then you start pulling yourself back up to the group, and you all make it up to 1350 meters. And you can do the same thing. You can either stop climbing and go back around, or you can keep climbing for another 50 meters. It's the same check. And climbing is going to take an hour, so you only have 2 hours left of O2. This next climb
Press
takes
on.
an hour.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Okay.
So,
All right, everybody roll 2d6. That passes, fails. Oh no!
Shipley.
Aw.
No.
I am not good at climbing, apparently.
The art you sent me for Shipley, I'm just imagining that right now.
The club, yeah.
And all right, let's see. Once again, let's see if Jackson can keep the group from falling. Roll a 2d6. We're just going to go up the line. Passes. All right. So you once again, you at the top of this, you're able to stop the descent, and now you have an hour left of O2. And it is now 17:30 local time, and you pull yourself over the crater lip of Mount Solbari, and it is a beautiful view. You can see all around, and I'll tell you, does anybody have a compass?
I didn't buy one.
Yes, I do.
All right, so to the south, so Mount Solbari is this, like I said, volcanic mountainside, big conical, steep mountain, and then you can see to the north this landmass. It's a peninsular type landmass with 2 big lakes. You can see the western lake is the road you came in on, and down at the foothills of Mount Solbari there's a bunch of forests. To the east of the lake you came near is a forest, and then an ocean around you on either side of the peninsula on the far east and west. And being at the top of the lip, you can see this. And On the other side, on the lip, you can see ocean, and the volcano. This mountain is kind of jutted up against the coast, and out in the coast there's one big island you can see off by itself, and otherwise ocean. And inside you can see a vegetated, like a forest inside of the crater. It's about 2 kilometers across, and there's an island in the center of the lake surrounded by a body of water. So you got like a forest and a body of water and a little island, and you see the familiar shape, the delta shape of a scout on the island. And that's where we'll end the adventure for today.